How have I never noticed this? But the Skarmory has the wing of Hooh. Hooh has the wing of Skarmory. Hooh also has the head of Lugia. And there's Lugia with the wing of Hooh. It's like the holy trifecta of birds. Hey everybody, what's up from Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics, like a good Dairy Queen blizzard on a hot summer day, never goes out of style. Anyway, today's another PSA returns video, and these are all cards from one of my larger previous orders. I've actually saved some of the non-holographics here for later in the game, and today we're taking a look at non-holo rares from the Neo Revelation set, which, in my opinion, are some of the best Wizards of the Coast non-holos, bar none. So anyway, let's take a look at some of these cards and roll into it. If you guys see anything you like, I'll leave a link to my eBay store down below. Many of these are extras for me, and that link is an affiliate link, so if you buy anything, I do get a little kickback from that. But don't feel obligated to. Really, today is just about appreciating the cards, the artwork, and some of the stories that go along with these cards. Anyway, let's roll into it. So the first card in the Neo Revelation on Holo set is one of my favorites, and that's Aerodactyl. This card I think is underrated. Usually when we think of Aerodactyl, we think of the one from the Fossil set, but I love the artwork on this one with like the ridges, the mountains in the background. I always thought this would look amazing as a holographic. Nevertheless, it makes a good non-holo, and this one was fortunate enough to receive the Gem Mint 10, which PSA has been a bit more consistent on their grading, maybe a bit more strict in my anecdotal experience, but this one is really clean. You can tell the borders don't have any dots, no whitening, and that's what you like to see in a PSA 10 copy. So I'd say that one's pretty strong. I actually sent in 2 copies of this card, and this one I felt was just about equally strong. This one pulled the Mint 9, which I think is a fair grade. I never complain about Mint 9s. And again, really epic artwork. Aerodactyl, one of the fossil Pokemon that you got in the game. Super iconic. I would actually consider Aerodactyl like the 4th of the legendary birds, personally. The rock-type legendary bird. So we got those, and then as we transition into the next rare card from Neo Revelation, it's a fan favorite for a lot of people, and that's Celebi. I actually sent in 2 Celebis as well. The first one got a 9. One of the things that's interesting about the Celebi from Neo Revelation is the non-holographic version is a leaf type. It's a grass type. However, the holographic one, really cool card by the way, that holographic one, is a psychic type. So same Pokemon, 2 different artworks, 2 different set types. I always found that interesting. Here's the second one. Second one also got a Mint 9. A lot of these cards have been in my collection for years, probably a decade. And I've never really taken the time to grade a lot of non-holo cards, just wasn't worth it. Especially since I've been chasing holographic sets of all the Wizards of the Coast first editions. And so the non-holos have always been an afterthought. But with the Pokemon Frenzy going on, with uncertainty in the PSA graded market, it just seemed like a good opportunity to grade some of these. Next up is the first of the legendary dogs, Entei. And Entei got featured really prominently about this time in Pokemon when, what was it, the 3rd Pokemon movie came out? Entei was like the leading character, I guess you could call it, in that movie. This one got the Gem Mint 10. Pretty cool non-holographic card here. Again, you've got great artwork in the background. Entei's just leaping into action. So I've always appreciated that. You know, I think sometimes people get too focused on the big money cards, the holographic cards, the high valuable, high rarity cards. But really, it's some of the non-holos that have the greatest artwork when we think of Pokemon. I sent in 2 of those as well. Second one got a 9. Again, this one was another really strong copy. Very clean. Centering's pretty good, as you can see here on the front. And look at him, he's got his mouth open. All 4 paws are up in the air, catching some airtime. Love that about Entei. And really, really clean borders on this one as well. Very little edge wear. There is that tiny little dot down in the bottom right corner. And you know, sometimes that's all it takes for PSA to dock it down a grade. Next comes one of the heavy hitters in the set, Hooh. Now again, Hooh was featured in this set as a holographic card, as a fire type, and that card is iconic. It's one of my favorites. The non-holo one, though, is equally beautiful and actually features a better profile shot, I think, of Hooh in context of the artwork. This one, though, is colorless in type, and like I said, it's beautiful. They have a lot of beautiful artworks in the Neo sets. This one was fortunate enough to claim the PSA 10, so I'm really happy with that grade. I was expecting at least two PSA 10s. I sent in, I think, 4 of these, maybe it was 3, but I thought all of them had a shot at it, but still happy to get one. I can't complain about that. Here's the second one. As you can see, centering is really strong on the front side. You know, there's no scratches or anything to worry about. That's one of the beauties of grading non-holographic cards. Much less susceptible to that type of surface wear. Backside also looking very clean. There is one little dot in the top corner, hardly noticeable. And again, the centering looks pretty good. So very solid 9 if I had to qualify it. Great card. Third one, got another 9. That's on the case. Don't worry about that. Again, really good centering on this one. Like I said, I sent in 4 of these, so I was expecting some pretty good grades. I actually have more than 4. I'm kind of a hoarder when it comes to Wizards of the Coast. It's a fraction of my collection that I've amassed over the years. A lot of people have asked me about that, like how did I end up with all of these singles? And really it was a decade, maybe more than a decade, of buying entire collections and piecing out the ones that I needed for grading, trying to build my sets. And oftentimes a lot of the extra cards, here's the 4th one by the way, would just end up in storage for me. There were cards that I weren't actively pursuing. So then, you know, just set them aside, forget about them until, you know, it became hard to deny them as I was going back through stuff, looking through what do I have in my collection? Is it worth grading? You know, I'm not going to lie about that either. There is a financial incentive to grade these cards now. In the past, non-holos haven't exactly been profitable. And so for a lot of people, it was either hold, sell raw, or just move on from them. Next up is Kingdra. I sent in 2 Kingdras. I thought both of them had a possibility of a 10. This one's just a little bit off center, especially you compare this top right corner to this bottom left one. It's a little bit more heavy on the right side than on the left side. Still a very clean copy. We go to the back. Almost 0 edge wear happening anywhere on here. And that's the most common flaw that you'll find with non-holographic cards is a couple dots of edge wear. That one though, that one looks good. Here's our second one. This one is also a 9. Again, look at this artwork. Kingdra's just like, I don't know, using bubble beam or maybe it's Twister right at the camera, right at the artist as they're drawing it. So it's a very immersive artwork. Kingdra's got his eyes closed. I think that's kind of cool. Really focusing in on the attack. Another 9 here. This one does have a dot of edgeware up on the top. And I misspoke earlier. I actually sent in 3 of these cards. Third one, noticing the theme here, another 9. Still, it's really cool to look through these again. You got to hand it to Wizards of the Coast. Some of these vintage artworks are just iconic. They're so good. Next up is the one that everybody loves from the set. That's Lugia. First edition PSA 10 Lugia. Now, it's not the one that you're thinking. The one from Neo Genesis, that's the big one. But the non-holographic one is nothing to scoff at either. This is also a beautiful card. This one's a psychic type. All colorless energies, though, which I find fascinating. Not exactly the best card for a deck building or for strategy, but still really cool. I like how the artwork on this one, too, has the same artistic style as the Hooh does. So those two together, I think, make a really great pairing. As you can see, the centering really good. The edges, perfectly clean. And again, that's what any collector is hoping for. That's really the best case scenario. The next Lugia got a 9, which is still a very solid grade for a Lugia. You know, you can't complain about having a mint Lugia in any kind, any way, shape, or form. You know, we were talking about Entei getting a lot of love in the 3rd Pokemon movie. But Lugia was the star of the second Pokemon movie. And so I think a lot of its iconic status is from that, because people will associate the most popular Pokemon from the anime, from the movies, with the cards, and I think that adds value. Third one here for Lugia. There was a fourth one that I thought about sending, but I didn't think it had a shot at a 10, so I didn't bother, especially since I was already sending 3. But this one also looked pretty good. Little off center on both the left to right edge as well as the top to bottom. Probably still within that PSA 10 parameter though. So I don't know, there is that little white dot down in the bottom right corner, just barely noticeable. Still, I'm not going to complain about a 9. Then we have Raichu. Raichu is one of the more underlooked cards in Neo Revelation, and I think it's Lieutenant Surge's Raichu that has a strong resemblance to the Raichu from Neo Revelation. I love the background pattern of this. There's electricity all over the place. It's very busy, but it's really cool, and this Raichu is ready for business. That's an attack pose if I've ever seen one. This one got the 9. Backside looking pretty clean here as well. That's the theme of these. I had a lot of cards to choose from when making this submission, so I tried to just choose the best of the best ones. Another electric Pokemon here. Raikou or Riko. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I apologize if one of those is incorrect. But again, with all the legendary dogs in this set, they're all just leaping into action. And I love the consistency of the artwork from this set. Like I've said, some of the best non-holo artwork if you ask me. And the contrast too is also something worth mentioning. You got the really rich, dark violet colors in the background, really helping Riko pop off the artwork. This one got the 9. Another really good grade for the card. You have a little fuzz on the case there. There's a little white dot down in the corner. Next up, we've got a Steel-type Pokemon, and I sent 2 Skarmorys in. Now, Skarmory first featured in Neo Genesis as a holographic card. That one's pretty tough to find in a PSA 10, so one of the low pop cards. That's probably true of a lot of Neo cards. This one has that same, like, art style, though. I don't even know how to describe it. Almost like a sketch style, as the Ho-Oh and the Lugia. Really vibrant colors on this one as well. In fact, you can see part of Lugia just above. So I'm wondering if they make a mural. I've never really noticed that, but might have to look at that, see if they like all link together to form one master artwork. That'd be a really interesting discovery if that were the case. I think when we're done, we'll go back and take a look at that. Maybe it's like putting pieces together of a puzzle. Anyway, the second one was also a 9. Got the first edition stamp. And I always found it interesting, like a resistance to leaf. Prior to the steel Pokemon, I don't think that was really a thing to have grass-type resistance. I guess the fire makes sense, though, because like the fire could melt the steel. Really cool card. And again, that's one of the things I loved about the Neo sets is introducing the dark-type Pokemon and the metal-type Pokemon. Speaking of dark, we get Sneasel, and Sneasel was first released in Neo Genesis as well. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but during League play, that Sneasel was so overpowered that it was banned from a lot of tournaments. It had the beat-up attack that took 2 darkness energies. You had to flip coins, I think, for every one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and it could like wipe out an entire person's arsenal in one go if the coin flips were on your side. This one's pretty cool. Very different art style on this one. Again, I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of cartoonish. Always love Sneasel. I don't know what more to say. A lot of history to Sneasel. This was the second one, I believe, that was released in English. And we've got Starmie. Now, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure this card was released as a holographic card in Japanese. Maybe that's true of some of these. I'm not an expert in Japanese, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm feeding you false information, but it's, again, really cool artwork. Starmie's mid-rotation, doing some form of attack. Maybe this is Confuse Ray. I'm kind of confused myself. Usually we think of Starmie as a water type, Here it's featured as a Psychic type, and this one got the Mint 9. So again, pretty solid grade there. Then we've got one that always stood out to me as a weird Pokemon, Pseudowidow. First of all, the name, a little bit weird, Pseudowidow. Does have wood in the name, so, you know, since it's a tree Pokemon, I guess that makes sense. But a very strange Pokemon, if you ask me, and one that is an interesting choice for a rare, rather than like a common or an uncommon. Again, it's got that cool artwork style, much like the Sneasel. This one got the Mint 9. Backside looking pretty sharp on this one. Very little edge wear, maybe a little dot up in the corner here in the top right corner. Still a really solid card. Pseudowidow, everybody. Last up is the third and final of the legendary dogs. We have Suicune. And Suicune is often one of the favorites for a lot of people, especially when you're looking at the holographic counterparts. Again, though, this one's really cool. Really, all the legendary dogs are. They're in attack pose or like in mid-flight. And so I think in this one we see Suicune running since the back legs are off the ground. Unless it's doing like a handstand walk or something, just showboating for the crowd. Still a really cool card. I sent in 2 of these. This one got the Mint 9, first edition. Backside looking pretty clean as well. Little dot edge wear down in the bottom right corner. And then the last one in my stack here is the second of the Suicunes, which is also a Mint 9. Overall, some really stunning cards. Again, I think that the non-holographic cards are underrated in a lot of cases and don't get the appreciation that they deserve. A lot of people make this hobby solely about like the bottom line, the money, what's the most valuable, what's the shiniest piece of cardboard. But for me and for a lot of collectors out there, it's primarily about connecting with the childhood, first of all, finishing off those collection goals from the past, but also appreciating the artwork. And I think a lot of times those two are tied together, they're interwoven, where the memories and the childhood experience is like almost triggered by the artworks that you see, and you have like a visceral memory attached to that card. So together, those make up all of the non-holographic Neo Revelation cards that I submitted. All right, well, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everybody, for taking the time to stick around and take a look and appreciate some of these vintage, non-holographic artworks from the Neo sets. They're some of my personal favorites. If you guys see anything you like, I'll leave a link for my eBay store down in the description below. Check it out. It's an affiliate link. Don't feel obligated to use it, but many of these are extras for me and will be up for sale in my store. Those sales help support the channel, but again, no obligation. I'm also hoping to do some live streams coming up here in the future, so if you guys have any ideas or any questions of topics to talk about, let me know in the comments. I actually have a live stream coming up soon with Swami, who's a great guy, great collector, and somebody that I consider a friend. So if you guys have the opportunity, definitely hang over to his channel and check that out if you have the chance to. Anyway, guys, I'm Pokemon Classics, reminding you until next time that the classics never go out of style. We'll see y'all later. Bye, everybody.